How's it going, guys? Tristan here with Montana Knife Company, and today we're going to be talking about how to use your knife to baton wood. So what is batoning? Batoning is the act of using your knife in conjunction with a baton, which is what some people call a wacky stick or a hammer stick, and you're using that to drive your knife down through a piece of wood lengthwise and split it open. So a situation that I've been in where knowing how to baton wood really helped me out was, I've actually been in a lot of different situations where it helped me out, but one that I can remember is we were camping on a ridge kind of late in the fall. It was cold and rainy, about 55 degrees, and that's one of the most dangerous times to be out in the mountains just because it is hard to stay warm and hard to start a fire. There wasn't a lot of dry wood around, so we were able to use batoning to split down some wood to get to the dry inside, successfully create a fire, and stay warm throughout the night. So why would you baton versus using a hatchet or just burning a stick or using a stick hole? So sometimes the outside of the wood is wet and you want to get to the dry inside. Sometimes you want to create a little bit of a sharper angle on it so that it catches fire better. And sometimes you want to do it instead of splitting that down with a hatchet because batoning can actually be safer than using a hatchet. And there's a couple different reasons for that, but the main one being that you're not actually swinging anything around. Everything is pretty stationary and controlled. And when you're in the backcountry, it's not really worth getting hurt. So I much prefer the combination of a saw and a knife rather than a hatchet. As far as knives for batoning, you're going to want something a little bit larger, at least long enough to span the wood that you're trying to split. So if you figure you're trying to split down a 3-inch branch, you're going to want something at least 4.5, 5 inches long, just enough to reach across that wood. Something sturdy, fixed blade, solid handle, nothing that's going to break too easy, and something that can stand up to a little bit of abuse. So a tough, sturdy, fixed blade, either with a high carbon steel or a really tough stainless steel, is going to do just fine. So my first step when I'm batoning wood is to gather my wood. So I'm going to look for wood that is dead standing wood, so that means off the ground, something preferably that's a little bit drier than something that's been sitting in the snow or the rain against the wet, cold ground. So preferably small dead trees or branches on down trees that are off the ground and also dead. So the way that you can tell if it's dead or not is if you break it and it snaps clean, it's probably dead and dry. If it bends and it's very flexible, it's probably still green. So we're going to choose something that's dead, a little bit weathered and gray maybe, and then we're either going to break that into sections or cut it up with our saw. And then the next step is we're going to place that stick firmly on the ground. Sometimes I like to use a larger chunk of wood or find a solid piece of ground with maybe a rock or something underneath it. From there, we're going to place our knife on top of our stick like this. It's important that you make sure that at least a third of your blade, a quarter to a third of your blade is sticking out past the end of that branch. So I want something that I can hit with my stick to continue to drive it down through that piece of wood. Otherwise, I'm just going to get it stuck in the wood and not be able to go anywhere. So from there, I set my knife on top of the wood, and then I just take my hammer stick and I'll kind of tap the tip of my knife all the way down, staying as close with my blows to the handle of the knife as possible to avoid damaging the tip, and I'll just drive it down until my wood is completely split. So an additional tip I have as far as technique goes when you're batoning is as you're holding that knife and you are driving down and hitting the tip of your knife, your handle will want to kick up like this. So driving down with the hand that's holding the handle of your knife as you hit the tip will help keep your knife level and drive it down through the wood more efficiently. Well, guys, that's the process of batoning wood. Nothing too complicated. It's pretty simple but very effective. It's a very, very important skill to know when you're out in the mountains, so I hope it helps you out.